y'all. I'm on my way to go with Mary Jo. Marge is going to her doctor today to see how well her bones are healing. But this is just kind of a funny thing that happened to me when I was young. You remember me telling you in the last video that my parents sent me from Arkansas out to California to put some distance between myself and my high school sweetheart, who did not take our breakup very well at all. But anyway, I was staying with one of my favorite aunt and uncles. Actually, they were my great aunt and uncle. They were my Grammy's. It was her sister and brother-in-law. Now, Aunt Yvonne was pretty much a very prim and proper lady, as were many back in the day. Uncle Emery, on the other hand, was very mischievous and very fun-loving, and he loved my Aunt Yvonne tremendously. He had this thing that he liked to do to torment Aunt Yvonne. Now, he years before had been doing some woodwork, and he cut his forefinger off at the second knuckle. So he had kind of a stub like this. So whenever they would go out to eat, mostly, is when he would do this. He would be sitting at the table, and he would put his hand like this. So it looked like he had his fingers stuck up his nose. I cannot tell you how embarrassing that was. And he always got a big laugh out of it. And I have to admit I did too. But Aunt Yvonne was just humiliated. But anyway, I was staying with them. And except for the fact that I knew Leslie was having a terrible time back home, I had a wonderful summer with them. Now, they took me, when they picked me up from the airport, they lived in Hayward, which is across the bridge from San Francisco. So they took me to San Francisco just to drive through and show me a little bit of the town. So, you know, San Francisco has streets that are very steep like this. They also have beautiful older homes. I don't know if they're still standing or not, but they were big two-story kind of Victorian homes. So we're coming up this steep hill, and at the top of this hill, I was fascinated by houses even back then. There was this man standing in a big picture window in the living room, I imagine, of his home. And he was reading a newspaper, so he had it out in front of him like this. From the waist down, he was naked. Naked. Oh my gosh. I was 15, 16 at the time. I had never, ever seen anything like that. My aunt was hysterical that I would see something like that. It's funny the things that we can remember, things we don't remember, but things that we can remember, and that seems like it was yesterday. My poor aunt never got over that. She was mortified. She was so afraid that if I told my parents that they would never let me visit them again. Now, my Aunt Yvonne loved me so much, and Uncle Emery too. So, anyway, when it was time for me to come back home to Arkansas, she had me all foo-fooed up, you guys. She bought me this little, I guess you would call it an A-line dress. It was kind of, you know, it wasn't skin tight, but it, you know, if you had any curves at all, it was showing them off. Now, I was pretty flat-chested. So the dress was black, but it had like a little collar like this that was white, and it had this white pleated bib, is the only way I can describe it. She said it would enhance my bust line. I had some sheer black hose, little black pumps. She fixed my hair in an updo for me. It was pretty long. So I had my hair up and lots of big curls in it. I was totally uncomfortable, you guys. I mean, this is a girl from the country who wore Levi's and t-shirts and little tops all the time. But she was having so much fun dressing me up like a doll. So what could I say? So they put me on the plane, and I happened to be seated next to this young military man who had just arrived from overseas, and he was going home. So, of course, we struck up a conversation, and he was probably 10 years older than me. But when he asked me how old I was, I told him I was 19. Now, I did look pretty old for my age, and all gussied up like that, I definitely looked older. Now, we had a changeover, a stopover. I can't remember exactly where it was. Probably, I just don't even know. But anyway, at this stopover, I was getting on a connecting flight to Arkansas, and he had a connecting flight somewhere else that I don't remember. But he changed his connecting flight to mine. Now, y'all, I was freaking out. We had about a 2-3 hour layover at that airport. He wanted to rent a car and go driving around. Now, I was not that stupid, okay? I was not gonna get into a car with a stranger in a strange city. So I was totally freaking out, you guys. If this man had walked off the plane with my dad's 15, 16-year-old daughter, he would have throttled that young man right there in the airport. And my dad would have been in jail. So I was freaking out. So what I did was I started telling him that ever since my dad had come back from Vietnam, he had not been the same. And he kind of had violent tendencies. And he was very protective of his only daughter. So I finally convinced him that when we got off the plane at the Little Rock Airport, that we would leave separately. So he gave me his address. I didn't give him mine. He gave me his address so that I could write to him. Y'all, I'm telling you, that was one of the craziest things that ever happened to me. It was fun. I mean, it was so exciting. Can you imagine a 15, 16-year-old girl having a 25, 26-year-old guy crazy about her, wanting to come home and meet her parents? It was ridiculous. Now, I put it down to the fact that this young man had been overseas. He told me that I was the first American woman that he had had any contact with in 3 years. Well, so I don't think it was the skinny. I think I didn't even weigh 100 pounds, but I was 5'7". So you can imagine I was a beanpole, one of the names that people always called me. But anyway, I just thought that was so hysterical, and I was so nervous. I was shaking. I was so upset that my dad asked me, "Are you okay? What's wrong with you? Did you have some kind of scare up in the air?" And of course I was stammering around, and I was so afraid that this young man would walk up to us in the airport. He didn't. He was pretty smart. So anyway, you guys, I just thought that was kind of a funny story, and that's what I got for lying about my age. But anyway, I'm almost to the exit where I am going to turn off, and I just wanted to say hello and relate that little story, and I hope you got a kick out of it. But anyway, do something fun today, y'all. And I so appreciate you watching my channel, because you know it's all about views and likes, I guess. I don't know. But I do appreciate y'all so much. And I will talk to you later. Bye.